Let me read the chairperson's statement. This meeting is being recorded by the Community Preservation Committee. If any other persons present are doing the same, you must notify the chairperson at this time. Anybody recording this? Seeing none, we will move on. We'll call this meeting to order, and I'm going to do a roll call of the members. Becky George? Here. Donna? Here. Wisty? Here. Garth?
Here.
Sarah?
Here.
Peter is not here. Travis?
Here.
Jack?
Here.
And I'm here. Okay, we have a quorum. So we have minutes that Sarah so wonderfully wrote up. Do we have a motion on those minutes?
Yes, I move that we accept those minutes as written.
Do I have seconds? Second. Second.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion, any changes that need to be made? Okay, seeing none, I will call the roll. Okay. Becky?
Yes.
Donna?
Abstain.
Wisty?
Yes.
Garth?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Travis?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, moving on. As there is no one from the public here, I think we will suspend with public comment and move ahead. Okay. Approval of the draft fiscal year 2026 community preservation plan. Yes.
The front page, actually. I think people are gonna see when they look at it as like the result in action.
Thank you. Emailed Christy, the rec director, and asked for any exciting pictures of CPC projects. Okay, so
And they're nice, proud pictures.
Garth or Jack, can you confirm you can see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So if you ever want to find all of these materials, just go to the Community Preservation Committee spot on the city webpage by going to Government Boards and Commissions, and then you click on the CPC on the side. And all of the stuff about the application process is under the funding link. So hopefully this will pull up the right document. This is the draft plan.
That is a great picture. Yes, it's an excellent picture. And thank Christy for it. What I'd like to do is just go through any of the changes that have been made so everybody knows what they are. If there anything that you question or want to discuss, then let's go through that and let's move it forward until we get to a conclusion. So Anna, why don't you?
I guess there were two things that I changed for this draft. Just the basic data about the CPA funds that we have, and that starts on page 6. So it shows all the past fiscal years, both what we raised in the local surcharge and what the city received from the state, as well as the list of current projects as they stand.
So looking at that, we have basically 350 for this cycle.
That's right. Yep.
Ish.
Yeah, we didn't spend all of the money we had available to us on the last cycle, and we also had one project that they decided they didn't need the money, and so they gave that back to us for the previous year.
Right.
I think that might be including something else, because on the funding page, it says the total we have to spend this year is $262,200. So I'm wondering, because I think we were like pulling from the next one.
Right.
And so maybe that is including that, but we're not including that this year, I think is how that works.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did not understand that at all.
I barely understood.
What the issue is that our fiscal year was not in sync with when we get the notification of money from the state. And so we were ending up in this situation where we were spending money out of sync. And so we decided to do a year where we would have less money available to us, so that then when we came to the following year, we would be in sync. We would have the previous year's state money, and we would have the money from our city taxes.
So when is that year going to be?
This is the year
So-
when that we're supposed to be in sync.
So the 349 is accurate?
I think so.
Yeah, this is showing basically what is literally in the city's accounts right now.
So we might still owe money to projects.
No, so the projects, I'm basically assuming we pay every dollar that has been allocated. So as you can see for fiscal year 25, it's substantially less in projects than previous years, which I think is what you.
Right, right. And we did not spend everything that we had last year. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
We rolled a bunch over.
Yeah.
So that means we've got some money rolled over, and I think that's correct. And you have gotten that information from the city treasurer's
Yeah,
office. Okay, so I would assume that since the city treasurer's office has that, then that's appropriate for us.
And this is all just the approved projects.
And those are various ones that are maybe outstanding, but we don't have anything in the. If the money's allocated, it's not in,
It's already allocated.
not in our like free cash account, right?
Right, right. No, the 349 does not include anything we've already committed. It's money that we would have to spend for this year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
Updated the dates.
okay. And is there anything else that was updated that was changed?
And so then the section on housing for the city, I edited liberally, so I'm very open to any pushback, but so these are updated income limits for CPC funding, updated in fiscal year 2025. It's slightly different from the area median income figures you get from HUD. And then yeah, for the most part, I updated with some demographic information from the new housing study. The information about the housing stock is relatively similar because it's from the census 5-year estimate, so it doesn't get updated terribly much. And some info about the affordability gap, the needs and goals I left basically what you guys had, but I did just mention what some of the suggestions and strategies from the 2024 housing study included, which were very similar to the suggestions in the previous study. I did not change the priorities at all, because
So we've got change, actually, we've got updated data. But other than that, it's basically the same with new information about our financial situation, et cetera. Okay. Is there any, is there any question about this that anybody has? You got it ahead of time, and I know it's a lot to take in. But is there any area that you from your point of view, for instance, Travis, from the Conservation Commission approach or from the Historic Commission approach, is there anything in there that you think needs to be changed?
I don't think so. I remember that Margot had wanted to talk about things like landscapes and everything overlapping in other categories. But I think it would come down to, which aspect the application applies to. We could consider it maybe as having value in both, but definitely issue our judgment on one. But the plan does touch on those issues, whether, like historic landscapes, features that kind of intermingle with other categories. And so from what I understand, it looks really good.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific. I mean, we've gone over it every year and refined it a little here and there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is a long doc.
It's
It is a
very
long doc, it's a
document.
very long document.
And I'm wondering, like, I kind of wish that I had done some digging about, like, looking at other communities' CPC plans. Because I mean, the only comment I have, it's nothing new.
Mhm.
But wow, like, if you want to get somebody to read something to understand what you're about, and you throw 39 pages at them, how are they
Mhm.
gonna read it? You know, just,
Okay.
I mean, and I'm not saying that we change anything or like
Mhm.
even take that up now, but I would like us to, I'll do some research on what other communities look like and if they are more succinct.
And if there's a way to create a second document that's sort of key takeaways from each area for anybody who's considering applying. Because there's a lot of information in here, more than is necessary to pre-apply or apply.
Mhm.
And that's good. We should have the information available, but maybe we need to have another
Okay.
way for people to understand it.
In the past,
Well,
we
does, I
did
mean,
talk
does
about.
doesn't the website sort of have the, executive summary, for lack of a better?
It's almost not not enough. Like there has to be some happy medium between
Mhm.
this
Okay.
40 pages and
The people think about that
Mhm.
and that we look at it for our 2027, actually, 2020, this is FY 26. Our fiscal 2027 plan. Okay, all right.
it would also be
Yeah.
good for the things that, like Jack and I were at the library, Wisty and I will be there again. We've been invited to be a part of the information fair at GCC in the spring. There's a resource fair at the senior center at the end of September that would be a good place to be. But if we had something a little more fourth grade,
Would
Here's
you,
the truth.
well, would you be willing, considering you need something soon? Would you be willing to pull some information from that?
well,
And-
I think, Jack, would you say we were able to talk our way through it, the questions that came up at the library? And I think certainly Wisty and I can do that too I mean, we're talking about 2 weeks from now. I
Yeah.
don't have time. to
Okay,
do it in 2
okay.
weeks.
That's fine.
Can I ask, what,
What sort of questions did you get that were?
I think we spoke to 8 people and the first thing that happened at 10 o'clock was 2 people came right up to us. They have an idea. They wanted to see how it might fit in, which was really cool. 2 biologists who were interested in more education and outreach about open space. And wondered, what sort of a project could they fit that education and outreach into? And it felt like there's something there. And we gave them a pre-application
Yeah.
and they were gonna go think about it and put something together. And then, Jack, do you remember the others? A couple people had no idea
Yeah,
that the
most of the
community
people-
preservation even
I
existed.
think one of the things that kept coming up is sort of this idea of your tax dollars at work. And so I think that some like summary documentation might be helpful. I think that it could also be in a form of like these small little tidbits of information as city Facebook posts, I think related to the CPC, I think would be helpful. The other one was about a playground and sort of this individual's idea of a playground. And I mentioned to her that she would need to speak with recreation as well, because there needs to be maintenance long term, and also this requirement that came up during last cycle about it being on public land or property. So I think as an applicant, I think this huge document filled with details, because someone will be going directly to the section that they feel is relevant to them, is actually super helpful. I think more information is better. But if we could come up with like 2 or 3 sentences for each category, I think that could really be helpful and effective at these in-person events.
So I wonder if
almost like an index would be helpful. You know, and it would just maybe have a little phrase and what page somebody could go to.
Well, does anybody else read this as having a lot of redundancy in it? Sort of some of the same information in different areas?
Yes.
So it makes sense though, because if you're interested in a historical project, you're gonna go right to the history section.
Right.
You might not skim the other sections. So if that history section contains the same information again, you'll get it the first time instead of being like, what do you mean? What is this? What is this clause talking about? I'm gonna have to scroll and like look through the document.
Because of the index. The index,
There's a table of contents.
yeah, that's what I mean. That's it's a
Mhm.
long table of contents.
That's true. When you guys are thinking about a summary document, are you thinking, because a lot of the information in here is like background information about the city of Greenfield, and then there's the nice sort of list of priorities. So are you thinking summary information of those priorities?
Priorities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And CPC.
You know, I didn't even think of this. So I'm glad you just said there's this table of contents because, I mean, look at it. That's a lot of detail in there.
Yeah.
And if somebody goes to that and even scrolls down,
In the past, we did talk about making a one-page summary for each of these.
Mhm.
And maybe having it like at the beginning of each one, I think, so like at the beginning of
Right,
one space,
right,
it's like
we
a
did.
one-page summary,
Mhm.
and it goes into the details.
And, you know,
But I don't think we ever, no one ever worked on it.
No one ever worked on it. Okay. What? But there are two pieces here. One is that we need to approve a plan so that we can do funding.
Yeah.
And all the
Yeah.
questions of the
I motion we
priorities.
accept the plan as presented.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, so let me call that one and then we can go to the next one. Okay, so, is there any discussion of this plan as it exists in terms of its viability for this fiscal year? As an overall document, recognizing that there are some things that we may want to do in addition.
There's some highlighting that can be removed, but that's the only comment I had.
draft.
so
Yeah,
by the
yeah,
date
yeah. I assumed it would
highlights
get
everything, yeah.
removed anyway, but I just thought I'd mention.
Okay. With that understanding, shall I call the roll? Okay. Becky,
Yeah.
Donna,
Yes.
Wisty,
yes,
Garth,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Travis,
Yes,
Jack,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, so the plan as stands has been approved. Now, this kind of fits in with the outreach discussion, which is the next thing on the agenda, is are there things that we want to pull together, both in terms, we need a report on how the outreach went and what happened, and what did you learn that could be helpful to us in terms of either the plan or any other thing that we did. So if Becky and Jack want to talk about this, or if are others who have had some experiences, let's hear them.
Well, it kind of ties in to what
It
we
does.
just.
It does.
jumping on.
It does. That's okay. No problem.
So a little 3-tier brochure with the CPC on the front, housing, recreation, and historic preservation issues, on each of the other pieces. Sort of the major facts of something like that. We talked about it, and I know you didn't have time, but that kind of rather than that one pager that you gave us, and that was helpful.
The text.
Yeah.
So just to be clear, the information that would be on it would be the priorities. What would be on it that would make it helpful?
Well, here don't we have priorities and needs and goals, or the needs and goals are the priorities? Is that what there's a section for each of these things that says needs and goals? So is that those are the priorities? I'm assuming that's the same thing, correct?
no, we
No.
have needs and goals, which are like more general, like what does the city need? And then the priorities are our priorities as a committee. How are we gonna evaluate projects and what are getting
Right.
highlighted as like more important.
So I guess we have to think about the audience, basically people who maybe never heard of CPA, don't even know that it exists,
Mhm.
or those interested in applying for a project. So those two things would probably be helpful, both the needs and goals and the project evaluation. And I'm looking to see how long any one of those things are. It looks like it's 1 or 2 pages, but could it be condensed into some bullet points rather than full-on sentences?
Yeah, and I think and I kind of brought this up at the previous meeting. I guess it would be very helpful if, as a committee, we decided, is our goal to notify and make the general public aware of the funding, or are we trying to get applications? Because perhaps there's a single page flyer for the general public, just, this is what CPA funding is. This is an example of what the money's been used for. But then there's this brochure that could say, these are the goals and the needs. Because I think in most cases, these are going to be 2 separate audiences. And we did see very clearly that most people have no idea that there is a committee, that there is money being set aside, and not to take away of what work the committee has already done, but I just don't know the history of how much has this been advertised and what is the goal? Do we want more applications, or do we want just the general public to know so that more people fill out the survey and give feedback to vote on the projects? And is it both?
What do folks think? I mean, we had talked.
I think there's 2 different things. If you're doing general, like, marketing, advertising, like, hey, this is what the CPA does, or outreach to people, like, send in your ideas, and or like vote on the various things, like that's a separate thing, and people don't need to know as much. If we're going for, like, hey, submit a project, like, they right, not to be classist, but they need to be able to read 10 pages worth of documents if you're going to ask for $50,000, right? You need to, like, be a semi-functional, be able to, like, wade through that, right? There's going to be a lot of details and specifics and rules involved. Like, that's how it works with government money.
I'm just
know,
looking at the
But we
open
can
space.
certainly make like a 2-pager that says, like, yes, you need to have, like, control and or approval from whoever owns the space that you're doing the thing on, and X, Y, and Z are the top, top priorities or top things you need to know.
So
But I
looking at
don't think we need to, like, super dumb it down for someone submitting an application.
No, but for example, in the open space needs and goals and priorities section,
Yeah.
easily you could put down in a smaller area the needs and goals, and you can skip all the whole first part and then just bullet point the preserve, protect, and enhance Greenfield's open space and provide improved connections and maximize. You don't need the things underneath it necessarily for that particular brochure. They're gonna have to come back. I mean, the pre-application and then the application asks a lot more questions. They'll have more questions. But back to Jack's point, are we looking do we have any applications? Yeah?
Yes,
How many?
3 pre-applications.
and I actually had emails from a couple more people who have not done that, who said, can we do this? And, it's kind of like, it's very general. And I've said, well, most of my answers have been, it depends.
Yeah.
But look here, look there, and this is what you need to do. But we have had a number of other people. So especially in the historic preservation area this time. So.
Tell me more.
Not until you see the pre-application.
But it's what, that's a month away.
A month away, yeah, yeah. So let me try to summarize what I'm hearing. What I'm hearing is that there needs to be a general kind of, for the general public, this is what this does. And then for people who are thinking of applying something that's a little more detailed, that says, this is our priorities, and this is the kind of thing we fund. And basically then go to the web, if you think that you're in the ballpark, go to the website and do the research. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, or call Anna.
Or call?
You know, I mean, it's always good to have the person to talk to.
Mhm.
Which is why I think these outreach things are really helpful. And they're kind of fun too. It makes you think more about what this is.
Okay, I want to just try to keep us focused here because I want to get out of here eventually. Yeah,
I just want to say, I think for the general one, I think it could be very general, like the people don't even know what we're doing. I think it could be like, what does CPA do? Open space and have like pictures of projects
picture, yeah,
and recreation, pictures of projects, historic. pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
Like that's it, like.
yeah, and we've
Fund these things.
right, we've had some nice housing pictures recently, so, you know, there are a couple of stuff.
Library.
To save us from going on and taking the pictures, we could request pictures from the applicants.
Mhm. Yep,
That could be in our agreements going forward. When you put up your banner, submit photos, you know.
And agreed that the city of Greenfield can use your.
so that goes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's that.
Okay, so getting back, okay, so it seems to me we're talking about a very general, this is the kind of thing that CPA does. And this is what it's done for Greenfield.
Mm.
And then another thing, which is you're interested in applying, these are the priorities. This is what we're going to be, just generally speaking, for more information, check the website, call the office, da. That sound right?
And when you say check the website, the information, like the.
Yes.
Would you write snack too?
Right. You know, so actually we could give the links to the specific things on this piece. Okay, Anna, you and I work on that? Okay, and we'll come back to the next meeting for it. Donna?
One thing I would like to say is I think it's always important when you're explaining what the CPC is to let people know, and maybe you don't have to go back to the history if it was voted
Yeah.
in, but it's from the taxes, it's this much
Mhm.
above 100,000. Because I think a lot of times, like people, when they hear that it's their tax dollars and I always try to preempt that.
Mhm.
A, you voted for this.
Right,
B, if you're so worried because, you know, of your property values, it doesn't even kick in till over.
$100,000.
Which meant a lot more back in 2018
Yes,
than it
yes.
does now,
Right.
but
Right,
I think that would
Yeah.
be great to put on the flyer, explaining just that, because I really truly, everyone I've talked to about this, they don't know. And every single person besides the two that specifically came because they saw us on the list of attendees, I don't think they knew either. And that they were pretty vocal about, no, I have no idea, you know, who you guys are. So
okay. Well, you know, this is important, so we'll work on this, bring us back to the next meeting. Okay. All right. Anything else around your outreach
I'm loath
experience?
to suggest AI for anything, but this is the sort of thing that people drop into one of those AI things and be like, make me a one pager out of this 40-page thing, or, you know, make 4 different, you know, 1-page summaries for their 4 sections.
I wonder what they do with the 40-page paper. Turn this into a 5-page document or a 1-pager. That would be fascinating.
Okay, so wait,
Right.
I don't want to say that we should be committed to write notes from what we learn, and give it to them.
Yes, in terms of
Okay.
the report back.
Okay,
Right.
I'm
All right.
sorry, I did not do that. for this
Okay.
First time.
but let me go back. There have been one session that and there'll be several more that'll be occurring during this month, during September.
There will be one more.
One more, okay.
There
Um,
could be, I'm sorry, there could be one at the resource fair at the senior center if somebody wants to step up and do it. It's September 26th from 1 to 3. It's
Okay, so, but
Friday.
it's after the pre-applications
Yeah.
are,
So it's just
are,
information.
okay. Recognizing that we have the two sessions, from the first session, is there anything that you and Jack learned beyond what you've discussed today so far?
I learned that Jack knows a lot.
Jack Jack knows a lot. I know that. I know that. Being one of his commissioners, I know that to be true. Yes.
Just that maybe we need to be more clear that the pre-application is used to determine eligibility, because I think that also made people like take a deep breath, like, oh, I'm not needing to do everything. It's really to determine that your project is eligible. And maybe if we stress that in more of what we're advertising, we might actually get more applications if that's what folks want.
Okay. Anything else? In terms of the outreach, anything that you found?
I think it was good.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. How many people do you think you talked to?
I'd say it's 8 overall.
Okay.
Yeah, in an hour and a half.
Yeah,
And that's all
no,
we're
yeah,
there for.
no, that
And
sounds,
there were 2 other tables that were doing employment things. So there were people around, but they sort of were more focused on the employment stuff.
okay,
Yeah.
great. Any other questions or comments? There's really nothing here to vote on.
I just want to say, I think we should do outreach stuff like this again when it's getting time to review the applications and when our survey's going out.
Mhm.
And actually like have people at the table, like scan this QR code and tell us what projects you want to do, you
That's a
know,
good idea.
things like that. Because that gets back to the who are we targeting? Right now, maybe we're targeting people who are going to do pre-application because it's right before that. And then if we do then it's more like general, hey, this is what we do. Tell us what projects you like, you know, that sort of thing. We
Okay,
don't have to worry about that for a while.
okay, all right. That being said, I would like to move on to how we organize ourselves for this fall, because what has happened in the past, well, right now, Thanksgiving is when our meeting is in November. And in the past, what we have done, because we get just to walk through it, get the pre-apps in September. We get back to people, we have a September meeting. We go through those, we see if there's anything. Anna and I are going to do a pre-review. If there's anything that we go, kind of, I'm not sure, we'll contact Stuart to see if it's okay. Once we go through those, then we get back to people, we say, go for it. Then there is a time between September and November when folks are writing their applications. So during that time, so in October, maybe we can talk about, maybe October is a more appropriate meeting to talk about some of this change, these outreach change things rather than September. But we have that meeting. The October meeting is more generally an organizational meeting and looking at where we're going and what we think is going to be happening. November, even though the new applications are in, it's Thanksgiving. We either have to be earlier, which means you have no time to read the applications, or we're going into December. And my suggestion is that we not have a November meeting and that we have a December meeting. And I believe I was going to pull out that we have a December meeting on December 11th. I think that's a Thursday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The rec commission.
That's why I wanted to ask about this. So you've got rec commission. The following week so it's at the 18th. We're getting close to holiday time, but
What about the week before?
week before, we could do, like what we're talking about, December 4th. Does that work for folks?
That's the historical commission.
Yeah, see, we could do it on another day of the week. But I'd like to get this settled at least now, because otherwise we end up in a mess later. And during that meeting, what we will do is set up our review process for January and February and March. So it's an important thing for us to look at.
Now, I also don't know if this is gonna become an issue or if it's gonna be an important thing, but the elections for city council are in November. And I don't know whether the ethics committee will let me stay on CPC. So we might have some turnover around that time as well.
Okay, all right, but that's, but you're not, but you don't become
Right.
a counselor until January.
Right.
So we, at least in December, we can have this discussion and then, and you'll have a better idea of what's going on. Okay, cool.
So, I mean, Monday the first, Tuesday, Wednesday the third.
Okay. Anybody have a preference? Monday the first, Wednesday the third?
Could do any day that week.
Yeah,
I don't know, except for Thursday.
Okay,
Yeah,
Anna,
probably.
could you look at the city calendar and just see if there's any weirdness that we have to deal with that in relation?
Yeah, so that would be the first week of December.
Yeah,
Nothing's posted for December, but in general, there's not really anything on the first Mondays of the city calendar.
Or Wednesday? What's first Wednesday like?
And then Wednesday, there's library building committee and the agricultural commission. How do you guys feel about meeting in other places?
The fire station is actually really nice.
yeah, the fire station will be very, yeah, it is nice, it's a nice room. So if, what I'm thinking is because Monday is
Not ideal.
not ideal, okay, okay. So the Wednesday, which is December third, that we're looking at? Okay, there's a Greenfield meeting, but that doesn't mean, that's not a problem for me. I can tell them no. So December third will be when we do our CPC meeting.
And that will be the meeting where we decide.
We decide our schedule for, so think through, because again, this all gets really
Yeah.
crazy. Depends on how many applications we have. We'll be planning to do 4 a night. Because we've gotten to the point where we can do that. In the past, we've done 3 a night and we've had 4 sessions. So we might have 3 sessions. We might have 4 sessions of review where people come in, they do, we don't have them do a big presentation. We ask them to do like a few minutes and then we ask them questions if necessary and we go through the process and review the process
Why aren't we meeting in November?
because it's Thanksgiving.
And the stuff.
And the
isn't
stuff,
due until after
and
that.
in the studies and just
So we
before
won't
then.
have the
Okay.
3 hours
Right.
before then.
Right, so it means that also
Because they're
everybody,
due on the 21st, right?
The website says 17.
17,
17th.
but it's close enough that we're not going to be able to do anything really
Yeah.
before then. And with the third, it means that people really need to at least have a vague idea of what we've got. You don't have to have heavy opinions on it or anything, but everybody has to at least gone through and said, okay, we have this many historical, we have this many from rec department, blah, 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 and we're trying to figure out how we make all of that work. And are there any that are particularly controversial? And, are we going to have to ask for some more information, that kind of stuff, just to get a general overview. And then that will allow us to know when we're going, what we're going to need for January and February and possibly into March.
So are we looking
That
at,
gives us 2.5 weeks to give a first read over everything.
Yeah.
Even with
Yeah.
the holiday or, whatever Thanksgiving travel, that seems reasonable.
Okay.
so I just, if we are looking at all of our pre-applications on this December 3rd?
Look, we're looking at all our applications, not pre-apps.
Oh, right, applications, right,
Okay.
okay, never mind.
Okay, so the idea is just a general, you don't have to have
Right.
any big opinions on them or anything, but just get an idea of what's out there and, what we're looking
We
at.
will
And
have
this-
already
yeah.
passed them into,
When are we doing the
The
pre-application?
pre-applications we'll be doing on this in the September, our September meeting is
We're due
25th.
28th.
September
28th.
17th.
Yeah, and they're due
Oh,
September,
good.
December 17th.
Okay.
So, and they're one pagers.
No,
They don't take a lot of
28th.
time. And really the big issue is,
The 5th.
September.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, the big issue is, does this Does this fit the guidelines? And if we've got any questions about it, then we need to get to Stuart pretty quickly, and we'll let people know that, you know, it's another week and a half, and we'll have answers for you. But, you know, we've already actually passed some things by Stuart, and he's told us things that we could, about applications that we knew were going to be coming in. So,
I just wanted to flag this because in the past, we've had pre-applicants come in and like, tell us a little bit about your project, and then we're here until 9 o'clock.
yeah, no,
So I feel like that meeting is about, we have a question about your project. Please answer our question.
that's correct.
As
correct.
opposed to, why don't you,
Right, right.
hold for it?
Right.
Because people will.
Right. So we will let everybody who's got a pre-application know that we are going to be meeting to review their application on the 25th. And they will, you know, they can come online, they can come in person, and that we may have a question for them. If we have no question, we're not going to ask questions.
But
Okay.
the 25th is the time that we're reviewing them too.
But you meant the 28th, I think.
What, the 25th of September?
So I don't want to say that we're not going to give that meeting plenty of time for us to be looking at them too. I mean, we'll have had the pre-applications.
For 11 days.
For 11 days.
They're due the 17th and then
Right, but that's.
Oh, sorry, not
Get
11
them
days.
all-
8 days.
8 days.
Are we going to get them all before that and have, I mean,
So they're due on the 17th, so we've already have 3, you said, Anna? Okay. So I mean, like last year, Christian sent them out to us as soon as they came in.
I was going to say, could we get them before as they come in?
So,
Sure.
yeah, so if you get them as they come in, there might be a little bit of a push on that day, but that's the deadline.
Yeah.
Right, right.
So
And
we
if
still have 11
if
days.
anyone has questions about them in terms of eligibility, and for anything that comes in early,
Yeah.
let me and Anna know, and we will try to make sure that those questions are answered before the meeting.
I sometimes feel like this meeting gets really like pushed along very quickly because people have to get out of here, and that slows me down in my ability to consider the questions I want to ask.
Yeah, no, I think, we're not trying to push it. What we're trying to do is just say, this is what this meeting is for. The meeting on September 25th will be to review whether something is eligible or not, as long as it meets the criteria, whether we like it, whether we don't like it, whether we think it's pie in the sky, has nothing to do with what we're talking about. What we're talking about is, oh, someone wants to build a playground. And, you know, we can ask them, have you talked to the rec department? Because you need to have, you know, you need to work with them, and the land needs to be under rec department control. And if you haven't done that, you should do that. But it's not beyond that. It's not, oh, we like this part of it, we don't like that part of it, or whatever. That's for later. Is that all clear?
This does not say that it has to be part of recreation.
But that's a rule that we got from Stuart when we put through.
I completely understand that, but it should say that in our plan, don't you think?
Isn't it just that it has to be permanently protected recreation land?
Yes,
Someone
yeah,
put
yeah.
like a preservation restriction for recreation.
Yes, yes, right.
And therefore it wouldn't be owned by the city.
It wouldn't be
Preservation.
Preserve,
It
yeah.
might be, like, it could be at one of the housing projects.
But it has to be under recreation department, recreation control. It has to be preserved for recreation, yeah. So you couldn't have something where, for instance, it's a recreation project right now, but later they might want to build a house on it. But that's not something that can be done. Okay. All right,
We'll get to that.
we'll get there. So let me just review. We have set a date of December 3rd for our organizational meeting for CPC review of the proposals that have come in. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. We are planning on September 25th to have a review of the pre-applications for review based on do they meet criteria that have been set forth for the area in which they are applying. And sometimes we ask people to say, you're in the wrong area, here's another area you should look at. So we can do that. Okay. But that's what we're going to be doing on the 25th. Okay. And somewhere in there, Anna and I will work on some documents in terms of short stuff for outreach and future stuff, but we may not have it in September, we may have it in October. Okay?
Is there any potential of moving the meetings up a little bit, like 5 o'clock instead of 5:30? I'm just curious. Another person has mentioned concern about rushing through in time. I'm just wondering if moving it up a little bit early helps or not.
Well, we can't have this room at 5 o'clock because the Sustainable Greenfield Committee is here. But we could find another space possibly. You know, if we wanted to do, I mean, do people want to do that? Can people do that? I could do it. You know, is there anybody who can't do it? If we moved it up to 5 o'clock?
I know we originally said it
Able to
at
do
5:30 because I couldn't make it in person until 5:30 at that point, but I have a different job now and I can do at 5, so
Okay.
years later,
All right.
that's changed.
All right, let's, Anna and I will explore the question of a 5 o'clock meeting and we will get back to people, but the next meeting will be at 5:30.
Okay. Here.
Yes. Okay. On to old business. Updates.
Me?
You.
Not terribly much, just to say that I got the final closeout paperwork for the Museum of Our Industrial Heritage project, the Historical Society's Documents project, both of which I think were from your first round of funding.
Mhm.
And then also the second round of the Fairgrounds Barn Restoration, which was from the fiscal year 25 funding. So they zipped right through that, which is always cool to see. So those are all closed out. And Chrissy just let me know for Hillside Park, they've ordered the STEM installation, or they're getting ready to order the STEM installation. So that's not going to happen probably this calendar year, but they have put in their new shade structure.
Oh,
And
great.
I meant to go look at it today. I didn't get a chance, but so that part, which was I think fiscal year 24 or 23 project, is moving forward. They haven't spent all the funds yet. The other piece of that, I think, was some walkway. Yeah, yeah. So that's probably TBD. Those are the big updates. Everything else is just in process.
One thing I can add to this in terms of updates is that I was in a meeting recently, a housing meeting. On no.
No.
The right now, the housing on Wells Street is projected to open up May, June.
Whoa.
Okay, so sometime late next spring, early summer, we should have 36 units of supportive housing available. And we should also have the new structure for the shelter as well.
Wow.
So keep that in mind because that's going to be really important to know about.
Is that permanent? People can move into supportive housing and stay there?
Yes.
Okay.
They can stay there forever. The general rule of thumb is that about 50% of the people who are living it stay there, and that's their permanent home. And then the other half kind of use it as an opportunity to get their acts together and then move on to other things, whether that be with family or whether that be, another apartment because they've got a better job or that kind of thing. But yes, they can stay there forever. If everybody wanted to not move, then we'd have to figure out what else we were going to do. But that's a different question.
Build a new structure.
Yes. So with that, I would entertain a motion.
A motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. I don't think we need a roll call vote on that. All those in favor?
Hi.
Any opposed? Okay, we're done.